style that lands for certain amounts of people, and I feel like somebody's going to say, wait a minute, am I an artist too? And is going to fulfill their destiny of being an artist. I think what social media did was allowed people to be personalities and experts that would have never been that. Influencer marketing, influencers is now a collection of people who are destined to be lawyers, but are now known for yoga. Accountants that are now known for Star Trek. And I think NFT infrastructure is going to allow somebody who is destined to be a carpenter actually now to be an artist. Somebody who's destined to be a sports agent now to be an artist. Somebody that was destined to be a stay-at-home dad now to be a artist. Somebody that was destined to be a police officer to now be a meaningful artist. The fact that art will now be practical to a generation of parents and encouraged instead of discouraged is going to be a very good thing for society, and I'm excited to see the birth of it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. You know, it makes me think about, I was actually just talking to someone about this today, the idea that, you know, we're talking right now about art NFTs, but in my mind, I'm anticipating pretty much anything that is property. At some point, you could theoretically say, could that be tokenized?
Well, that's a foregone conclusion. To your point, I think my passion right now sit around creativity, but for example, every book by any author that's got any juice is gonna be launched as an NFT. Like, I've got to rethink my entire thought process of signing another book deal. Mm-hmm. Why would I do that? I can launch as an NFT, make incredible dynamics, deliver the actual book on the back of the NFT, create incredible secondary market dynamics. I mean, the world, Darren, this is a big fucking deal.
It is.
I'm gonna sell my...
I've been trying to tell people this for 2 years.
Well, you've been right. Good news. You know how you like being right? Good news. There you go. This is gonna change everything. Absolutely everything. I think what I would encourage everybody here who's listening to fall into something I said the other night, and I'm using it, I like it. Don't try to convince, have conviction. And it's very different. You know, convincing people is fun, but exhausting and not required when you're this right. So like people like, Gary, convince me about NFT. This literally actually ironically happened today. Somebody said, convince me about this space. I'm like, I'm not going to. Here's how I'm gonna convince you. This NFT thing is gonna be one of the biggest technology shifts in your life. I'll see you in 3 years. I'm not gonna sit here and try to explain to you that you don't understand social currency, human behavior, why people wear logos on their clothes, what happens in a digitized world, why people will be curious, like rubbernecking and reality TV and social media, to know what people have bought and ledgered, that the provenance matters incredibly and always has in our society, that eliminating the middle that brings very it's just gonna play out. Why did chiefs and Indians and cavemen paint their faces with colors and have skins that were like, this has been going on. This is a foregone conclusion. So here's my rant, and I'll see you in 3 years. I don't care if you buy an NFT. I just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of provenance, I think a really interesting element of that a lot of people don't recognize is, you know, say you look at this Top Shot thing, right? And you think about, okay, well, whose hands has this particular card been in?
So cool.
And you can look back and go, whoa, this was actually in LeBron James' wallet, for example.
Really matters. People don't understand. That's gonna be really cool. When you meet somebody in 13 years at an event, instead of going to Google or Instagram like many do now, I think people will go to public wallets and look at what they've done. And I'll be like, oh, Darren, you were fucking on this blah, blah, blah. Like, you know how people love to have street cred? They're like, I knew about Pantera first.
Like Vanilla Ice?
Yeah, exactly. Or like, I was early, like for me, I was early on Notorious B.I.G. But do I really have proof? I don't, but I could.
Sure.
I could.
You could.
You know, like where, you know, when someone's like, I was early on Nirvana. Were you? Like now you have, but now in 35 years, somebody who's early on something is likely gonna have some proof to it, because that entity, the band, the influencer, the person, the thing, is going to have an NFT infrastructure that's going to prove. Do you understand the level of clout, Darren, that somebody could have as being the first person to buy the first item that Pearl Jam put out in 1991?
If you could prove it, yeah.
Well, guess what? That's the
Right.
world we're about to go into.
That's right. Irrefutably.
Irrefutably. So I think provenance is going to be a currency that matters in an insane way. I think people are naive. I told people that online dating would be the standard in 2000. They laughed at me. I said that people would buy wine on the internet in 1995. They laughed at me. I told people that they would spend all their time on Facebook. They laughed at me. Playing mobile games, they laughed at me. Like, all I do is get laughed at. And that's when I know I'm onto something. And this one is one that's making a lot of people laugh. They're like, I'll just take a screenshot. What's the difference? I'm like, everything.
Well, I was talking fine art with Sasha Bailey. He's the founder of MyBay. And he was talking about how he had experience with traditional fine art. For example, if you were to say, look at an Andy Warhol, and it was the real one, Andy Warhol, and then you had a fake sitting next to it. They are indistinguishable. You cannot tell the difference between them. You know, and that's a problem. So what do? They go by provenance. They go, okay, whose hands were, who had this piece? You know, where is the history of this piece? And again, that's where the blockchain is vastly superior as a solution.
It's not even close.
Right? Not only that, where are those Andy Warhols? They're in a vault. No one's even looking at the things.
Correct.
I go to the New York Met. I don't know if you saw that, but
Yep.
I posted about it. I go to the Met, and I go look at a painting, and I'm like, is this even the real painting? Or did they just put a replica here because they don't want the real one to get damaged?
Correct. And meanwhile, somebody changes their profile pic to a CryptoPunk, and you can go check if they're the actual owner of it. You could.
Yeah.
You could. And then you get into the monetization of the IP. Like, you look at some of the NFT standards where you're allowed to monetize something you buy up to $100,000. Like, there's so much neat stuff. It's just gonna be neat. That's like the word. Like, I've been using the word neat. Like I don't know if it brings me back to
It's
when
a childish nostalgic thing, right? It's neat.
It's neat. It's fucking neat.
Well, and that's why I'm making the art for myself as well. A lot of the art I make literally makes me laugh as I'm making it.
Good.
You know, like there's a joy in it. And I'm hoping you have the same experience with your doodling.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Joy in it.
I mean, like look at Patient Pig. How can it is?
That's right.
You know, like I couldn't be more excited to be a part of this. I am really happy that I've been able to bring a lot of awareness. I've had a lot of beautiful DMs and things like, you know, I have a big platform and I'm able to bring awareness to people with Flamingo Project or, you know, Voracious or, you know, whatever it might be. Like, it's just really fun.
Let's talk barriers, though. Let's talk problems.
Please.
You know, Ethereum, obviously, you know, if you're minting on Ethereum, like, it's got some technological problems.
Clearly.
You know, it's too much success.
Yep. Gas is expensive.
Gas is terrible. You know, we had kind of a mini crypto winter in the art scene where, I don't know, you talked about that you've been following it for months, and it was just on fire in October, November. Come December, Ethereum prices kind of skyrocketed, and all of a sudden, people couldn't create.
Gas is expensive.
You know, we had kind of a mini crypto
It's like a confirmation of you are not hallucinating. You're seeing all this stuff. You're trying to
The one thing I'm telling other managers right now is to try Monday.com. Monday.com is a platform to run everything your company does. I can see the whole quarter laid out in front of me. and then zoom into a specific part of the quarter and see what's really happening. Because Monday.com is what my teams are actually using to manage their workflow. All the way down to these specific items people are working on. Everyone uses Monday.com a little differently, and it's incredibly easy to adapt it to any workflow or project. And because everyone's working on the same platform, it makes collaboration across departments so much more efficient. Now, everything's in one place. You have emails, chats, documents from shared drives. Monday.com pulls it all in, so you can find things so much more easily without having to search for it or ask other people. It brings total peace of mind. I wish I'd known about Monday.com years ago. It makes collaboration across departments so much more efficient. Now, everything's in one place. You have emails, chats, documents from shared drives. Monday.com pulls it all in, so you can find things so much more easily without having to search.
Let me let you in on a little secret here. All of these online gurus out there have it backwards. So for instance, in order just to make your first 10K a month online, they'll tell you that you gotta, become a coach consultant or an agency, start a drop shipping store, or do Amazon FBA, or invest in real estate, or do wholesaling, or build a software, all of this unnecessary stuff. And look, well, all of that can work and does work. If you're like me, like I was 5 years ago when I started off, I was a broke bartender making 18.
YouTube, we are back. Weekly V, NFT NYC week. I think this is loaded. I hope you enjoy it. I miss you all tremendously. If you do not love losing, you lost.
I feel I can't lose. I feel I can't lose. I'm mortal.
And to be very frank with you, economics are not driver. So much of my behavior is countercultural for a businessman, hence the book you're reading. The argument I'm trying to make is if you actually cared about good things, I have a funny feeling all these things that all of you want has a much better chance of getting there. Like I'm the alpha of my hypothesis, but then what makes it feel like it has validity is I'm not just looking at me, I'm watching very carefully and I'm like, wait a minute, the nice people actually are winning long term. Bad people can win in the short term, but reputation matters. Look what's going on in our society. We're having a massive collective day of reckoning with bad behavior, right? And I will spend the rest of my life trying to change popular culture around this issue. I think the number one line on a bill of rights of a leader is you must eliminate fear from your team. It's why kind candor really fucked with me. When it got clear as fuck that my inability to be candorous to people actually created fear in my companies because people didn't know if they would get fired out of nowhere, it was the lowest point of my professional career because I realized I had failed in my ambition to eliminate fear. I should have never well listen, that's unfair. I grew up in a way, DNA-wise, parenting and circumstance and the way I naturally navigated that really demonized confrontation. And I've refined it now. Undressing somebody inappropriately in a room is very different than not being able to go to somebody in a separate meeting, sit down, and respectfully and kindly deliver critical feedback. But I viewed all critical feedback as negative because most of what I saw with critical feedback in my youth was delivered so poorly that I was unable to dissect the vessel delivering the feedback from the value of feedback. See you, brother. Cheers. Bye-bye. Okay. Yeah, it was 12. This is it. So yeah, 12 DeBrosis used to be a co-working space called Sunshine Suites, and this is where VaynerMedia started. Mike Boyd's interviews from that Bible, put it right here right now, the Daily V, of like Mac Miller interviews were done in there. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it's just so like, all these interactions, this is really the first time I felt like this since 2007. Austin in a confined area for South by is probably a little bit better because it's just, New York's so fucking big and it's all over, but it's the same feeling. Like meeting people that you met on Twitter in real life back then was the first time that ever happened. And like the way the NFT macro ecosystem's working is very similar to Web 2. Different because we're more mature, it's like the internet is more mature, but it's still the same feeling of like, wow, I've like really interacted with these people. I really kind of, it's a real community and now we're meeting in real life. This is amazing.
1979. It's almost mint. There's a little like ding.
This is for me?
Yes.
I'm gonna put this on my shelf.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear, Terry.
D-Rock, make sure I do that. D-Rock just informed me that this is weekly V, not daily V, so I apologize for the prior reference. The reason I came so hard to NFTs is because the sports card industry was pushing me out because they thought I was pumping and dumping when I didn't sell a single fucking sports card. With this world, you could follow me. You could see my behaviors. So I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And this is transparency. You can see what I'm doing. It's all right there. Fuck you. I would never ruin my fucking reputation to make $8 out of fucking Kevin Durant rookie card, you fucking idiot. I made enough money long ago. You think I'm really gonna pump some fucking bullshit PFP project to make $80,000 in 24 hours, you fucking asshole? I'm not. And I know a lot of people do, but that's why I came to this world, but I don't want the power. I don't. I do not want it. There's nothing in it for me.
Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man.
Oh, this is really cool.
Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man.
Because people have invested extraordinary levels of money into your art, do you feel like you have to execute for the next years to justify those costs? And does that weigh on you? Like, how does that sit with people?
There is pressure, but it's not hard for me because at the end of the day, I was doing this for free for 20 years. I was getting up and trying really fucking hard to make digital art the best I could for 20 years. Before anybody gave a shit. Before anybody was ready for it. And so that's where it was like, so now people are gonna fail up. And so I think at the end of the day, all I can do is get up and try really fucking hard, and that's it. And like, that's what I was doing before, and that's what I'm doing now. And so that's it. Like, that's all I love that.
My old friend.
You look exactly the same.
That's not true, but it's great to see you, love. Backstage NFT NYC.
I have cream in my pocket today.
You have cream in your pocket? Oh, it coffee. Shit got very weird. New York looks good. When it's on the pre-dawn of the moment, that's when I jump. Kevin Rose and I are talking, and he's thanking me because I got him to buy some Jordan rookies at a really low price, and we're really nerding it the fuck out. And then he goes, "Do you have a punk?" And I'm like, "What's a punk?" And he dropped 3 minutes on CryptoPunks. I had to run because the family something. And then that night started a 45 to 75 hour journey over a 1 week period where I consumed everything about CryptoPunks. And by mid-January, I decided that I was going to buy a lot of them. At that point, because of what I was already doing, I had felt we were close to the time.
So you felt December last year was the pre-dawn?
Yes.
And then you went all in?
All in.
What about a couple of questions from the audience, and then we'll move on?
Gary, what's up? Tomorrow I'm going to be minting a Crypto New Yorker, and I nominated you to join our community. The community voted, and you won. If you're free, I would love to bring you.
What time?
Wow.
Don't clap. It's highly unlikely. Fine.
That's a deal, right?
On how to get above all the noise that's out here, all this crap that's everywhere. Is there any, like, for someone just starting out, or is it just...
I think it's executing within Discord and Twitter.
Okay.
And it's like, you know, everybody sees this version of me.
Yeah.
Nobody saw the 2007 version of me that lived on Twitter for 11 hours a day for 4 years. It's always the reps you put in. The way to break above the noise is to put in the work.
And get fucking lucky.
You know what's funny? I think, yeah, look, I think luck...
the media underreports the luck factor.
I think luck is real, but I think luck is an incredibly dangerous thing to attach yourself to because then it becomes your excuse. Yeah. Look, I was in the Soviet Union. even be in this country.
Right.
I'm lucky because my mom built self-esteem. Like, I believe in luck. I'm lucky that all this shit came out when I was alive. I could have been born in the 40s. But I also believe if I was born in the 40s with all the same shit, that I would own 7 fruit stands and have a good life and have a good thing. You know what I mean? Don't fall in love with luck. It leads to a lot of unhappiness.
I'm just saying it's underrepresented.
And I'm saying, whether it's true or not, if you have a relationship with luck that you deploy against everybody else, you will never be in a good place. Promise, brother. I promise with all my fucking heart.
90 days of continuous service required gift card.
Coming
Access
down
fees
like
and additional terms apply.
I ain't never met a limitation. Hate applying my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information.
Bye, everybody.
Damn, what a way to start the week.
That was definitely something. I mean, that shit that I was just in, that's not comfortable for most people.
I know, yeah.
It's the thing that somebody wants. People want to be heard. And by the way, I'm not doing it because I know they want to be heard. I'm doing it because I want to hear them. Like, that's what I'm trying to teach people. It's like, if you're not doing it for the right reason, it doesn't matter if you do the right tactics.
Sure.
Available at Walmart.
Energy savings based on average prescription amounts of gold and non-energy machines.
I'm like spending more time on diverse artists and projects than the other stuff. That's what I can do about it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna preach people into doing shit about it, because I've come to learn at my older age, that shit doesn't work. That makes you feel better. The only thing I can worry about is what I do. And I have a platform where enough people watch that it may have some collateral going. We have to take our own fucking responsibilities, and I wanna put real effort, time, and money to just give what the reality is, which is how do you put people on second base?
I was being interviewed earlier, and the people who were interviewing me were like, Gary's doing like 60 interviews a day. So there's 11 Gary roaming around.
There was somebody who genuinely once wrote me about 2 years ago a very complex, science-based email genuinely asking me if I cloned myself. And I Googled him, and he's like this like hardcore scientist in Europe, and like really like broke it down. It was like in a weird way like the greatest compliment of all time.
Perpetual energy, I integrate like infinity 8. Activating my immortal state, navigate reality. These worlds I assimilate, lucidly creating while
I have a lot of love for a lot of you that we haven't interacted with, that I know, and obviously extra love for people I have interacted with. I just want to thank you, and more importantly, I just want to thank Avery, who runs Vayner NFT, a major partner of mine as we embark in this new world. She's just somebody I really admire and I think should be recognized. So Avery, I'm glad you're here.
All the molecules. I don't know how far apart they would be.
Talk.
It seems to me they're in a very,
What's really fun about that vlog is I'm really trying to be thoughtful about giving roses to people while they're here. And what's great about weeks like NFT NYC is people are in town in a world where everyone's busy. Getting 15 minutes scheduled together is fucking impossible. So it's nice for the serendipity and get to give some love, and that's like so important to give love.
Heard you. Don't say nothing when I hit a curve. You sip my tea like it's herbal. Watch it come back full circle. Knew this life was eternal when I hopped over hurdles. I see universal. You see me with my surface. You had to listen, man. Listen, this thing right here wasn't given. I'm whipping this to precision. Before you talk, homie, listen. They love me for my ambition. Paper chase, palm itching. I brag different. The flow ignorant. Got them hooked. They kept fishing.
Hey Mark, what's up, bro? One of the reasons it was very easy for me when I really dug in late last year to believe in this was actually because of Farmville on Facebook. There was 2 things that happened to me during that year. Farmville on Facebook, oh my god, people are buying this digital sheet because they want the social currency to show their friends they're good at it. And then Zay Frank, I don't know if you remember Zay Frank. Remember? Zay Frank, who was one of the first video bloggers, he had people buy virtual ducks as little tip jars and have their name hover over it. And those were the first times I was like, oh my god, people are gonna buy virtual things, virtual currency. In my book, Thank You Economy, I talk a lot about virtual currency in 2011. Was it natural for you to believe in what's happening right now with NFTs because of the things like Farmville that happened on your platform?
You know, I hadn't really thought before you raised it about, you know, some of the the early Farmville experiences or some of the stuff from a decade ago. But I think you're right that there is a clear through line, right? Both between the kind of social interactions that people have and the types of commerce. And you know, obviously there's more technology now that can make it more interoperable and that can, you know, give people more rights over the goods that they have. And, you know, on the AR and VR side, making it so people can feel a more realistic sense of connection. But I think you're right that a lot of these concepts are not fundamentally new. They're sort of the next iteration on just dynamics that are evergreen and that are just always going to be and always have been very important to people.
All right, Gary.
Talk to you. See ya.
At the very core of all of existence, you will find love, unconditional love. It is the very essence from which creation expands, expresses, and experiences from. Love is not just the sensations that are brought to you from an individual outside of yourself. It is the
Flip this, Gary Vee fan. Here's what you don't see.
August 13th, Paul versus Vaynerchuk. What's good?
Information and knowledge. You'll understand that darkness formulates a lack of leverage, creates a lack of integration, causes
I was just so excited about the space, and like I got in, I got in heavy, and then I pulled myself back from it, and I was like, do I want that?
It's a good question.
It's a like a simple moral question to me, where it's like, do I get involved to build that world, or do I just build myself? Like, disregard that, disregard that. I don't want to chase for the truth, I want to chase for like the love, like I don't know. Does that make sense? Of course it does. So how do you do it personally?
It's more intense. The thing that kind of makes everything happen is good intent. I want nothing bad for anybody. I want to make myself happy. I want to create the intent. The intent is to enjoy my daily life and to act for me. And then because I'm good, I can give. Yeah, this is my office. I got all my shots. A lot of this stuff was kind of like why I think the NFT thing came so natural to me. It's kind of been the way I've always saw the world. I do believe there will be many NFTs given as gifts this holiday season. We all saw when like the email with like a gift card attachment from Amazon or Apple was the gift. I do think we'll see the first dozen, thousands, hundreds of people waking up Christmas morning and their friend or relative is like, hey, check your MetaMask or your OpenSea account, and boom, there's the gift. You know, 50,000 people getting an NFT this holiday is actually a remarkable feat considering pretty much nobody on Earth knew what it was a year ago. But in the scheme of 330 million Americans, or whatever the number is these days, it's still relatively small. But I think we get together a year from today, that number is going to be hundreds of thousands potentially.
Came a long way from stacking and rolling that change. And all I ever wanted.
For me, if I eat high dose and I only eat a high dose, everything else is boring. I have, you know, there's a time, you know, you feel something and then you get knocked out. And at this time, I have the feeling that I don't know why I have the, maybe there's an explanation, or maybe it's only for me. I don't know. But if I eat a high dose, I have the feeling that this cobra is in front of my head and snap my head and bite me in the head. You know, it sounds horrible, but it's not. You know, it's just a little. But what I think, you know, there was one time I get a phone call and I woke up and I hate it. You know, there was the feeling, the cobra is snapping me, and I pray, oh, please knock me off, please knock me off, please knock me off. You know, and then it's not so bad. And then I told you a few days ago, if you're in the universe, you see, you know, something is spinning, you know, the Milky Way or whatever, and it's spinning. I saw one time, in a few seconds, I saw the whole spin. That is, you know, the whole development, and what happening in the world in only 1 second. And then I saw, oh, everything is happening, and everything that happens, I'm part of it. You know, I'm influencing my reality. And I also saw, like, you know, it's only 1 second. It's feels like 1 second, but you also see people who are scamming you. You know, there are some people that pretend to very good, you know, good shirts and whatever, and then you feel like you cannot feel it, you cannot see it. There is no word or whatever, but you can feel it. That's why you cannot express it in words. But then I feel that this person is scamming me, and then I found out really he is scamming me. You know, there's no words. It's not saying, there's not, oh, I'm a mushroom, this person is scamming you. No, you feel it, some kind you feeling like, I feel that he is sucking my energy, something like that. And then I make an end, and then my life changed because he scammed me a lot. It's unbelievable.
Hey, it is. That's wild because like with the more ACL, like that's what like it's like taking a high dose of mushroom. Well, Yellow passed out a few. He blacked out like a few times. Like I know I blacked out like once or twice, but it feels like when you black out, like it's nothing. Like you don't though.
Yeah, that's just what I say. That's why I say record yourself, and after you wake up, you will talk about what you experienced when you had to black out, when you was in some kind of coma. And then after 1 hour or 2 hours, you will start to recognize yourself, or you know, you have memory what you are talking about, you laugh about your hallucination or whatever. But while the coma, and 1 hour, or maybe for other people only half hour, you don't know anything. And that's why you need to record yourself. And then if you look at that, wow, it's so mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
So, do come after the blackout and like record yourself? Do you remember like things that you seen when you blacked out, or is it just like blacked out and it's like nothingness and go back to your remember?
No, this is just what I say. You have a blackout, you don't remember anything. But after you wake up of your coma, like the first 30 minutes or 60 minutes, you know, every person is different. You will talk, you will see or recognize or experience why is a blackout. But you cannot remember. And then after 1 hour, you will start remember what you are doing right now, but not at the blackout, and also not what you are talking about after the blackout, 30 or 60 minutes. That's why I say, record yourself, or if you don't have a video recorder or whatever, a camera, then at least here with your mobile phone, but of course flight mode, because the radiation will affect your pineal gland. Make a record, you know, a voice record. And then you will listen to it, and then you also can remember what you experienced in the blackout. You need to record yourself, and then you will know what you experienced in the blackout.
Yeah, that's why you can speak live. It's weird, bro. It's like you know, I had an experience like where I took myself like you know, like just old enough to sit up, not even old enough to walk. But it was like kind of weird because the space that I was in, it wasn't like a place like the planet. It was like something different. I had like these little vibes everywhere, like you know, when they pop open, like all these like vegetable type toys that pop out of it. You feel me? And like it's like the mushrooms was like showing me like as if they were there at that time or something.
Yeah, and the mushrooms, they never fool you. If you think mushrooms fool you, you got the wrong perspective, or analyze it wrong, or understand it wrong. Unbelievable. And if you might ask why I come in this community, I'm a very big fan of PvP, and I have great respect of the high dose, and what I love at high dose and want to get her out of it. And this is for me a proof that he's a very, very, very good person. Not yet, not yet. Yeah, but I continue, I'm continuing. And do you want a secret tip from me? I'll tell you a secret, because you know, mushrooms, they taste like shit. Of course, there are people that say, oh, you think it smells like shit? Try it first. Or don't you just do it nothing? Yeah, I go with it, right? But you still think it's terrible. But I found a secret tip. Makes the mushrooms taste bad, and that is, I know it sounds so stupid, but it's super easy and it works for people. Put peasants. Eat mushroom and it will not be that terrible as if you don't. It's super secret.
Que está al lado de la tienda de donde yo trabajo.
Just get some beef and beef.
No.
Burlington? Marshalls?
Burlington. Que está así. El chicken spa. La pizzería. Yo tengo un Burlington. You got 2 floors, 3 floors? I don't have to taste. I get the butt. I'll eat anything. I've only ever gone in off
50 pesos.
Hey, Kurt, can you talk about that Metaverse told you about the future? Have you seen the future?
Not really. I cannot remember, but not really. But maybe next time I think about the future, then you tell me the future, of course.
No, I'm talking about the time when you seen the mushroom show you that you were in an ambulance.
Oh yeah, that's that was he showed me the future, right? Really, it's unbelievable. And that time, that's why I say the mushroom never.
You thought they were. Yeah, you learned that we didn't have to.
Can you repeat? I didn't understand you. Can you repeat? I didn't understand you.
I said you learned that day that mushrooms never flew.
Yeah, right. Yeah, before many people say mushroom never flew. One time, and then I thought this bullshit because I don't drink alcohol at all. Of course, at the lockdown I started to drink, right? And sometimes if I have very bad sleep, of course, or if I cannot sleep, I drank alcohol, but I was not an alcoholic. But I saw I'm in the ambulance because I'm an alcoholic. And then I said, hey, that's bullshit. And then maybe the mushroom might fool you. And there was one time, I know it's super embarrassing. I wouldn't tell it to my German friends or whatever, but I'd like to share it to you because I want to warn you. There was one time I drank at the evening I drank, and then at the next morning I drank 3 liters of alcohol. And then my housekeeper arrived, and then I tried with 3 liters of alcohol. And then I go to the supermarket, I drive to the supermarket, I buy more alcohol, and then in total I drink 5 liters of German beer. German beer has like not 3 degrees. You know, German beer had 4 or 5 degrees. I drank 5 liters, and I drove with 3 to 5 liters of alcohol. And then after that, you know, I don't remember anything. This is what I tell you now is what my housekeeper told me. You know, I don't remember anything. There was 1 or 2 things I remember. I come from
Sí, yo me hice yo mismo.
I started to stop. You know, what I tell you now is reconstructing.
Try to get it to the closing.
But what I remember is there's only one scene
Crazy, right?
I dropped down
Now this character can be in there, but he can dance.
because I drank alcohol. You know, after I buy
Imagine
alcohol and
I'm playing
I want to
myself.
be in that world so bad.
No, imagine I'm playing myself
I'm here, bro.
from when I'm somewhere, you know, like that's what I always say.
You're not playing yourself for somewhere.
Or like this, like I'm playing the character, man. I feel like it's in child.
Dame, yo lo prendo, dame.
That what I also remember. But I not
Yeah, like a pinball.
And
They
then
pinball or something.
See?
and I say,
It's
hey,
inside.
you know what? I drink 3 to 5 liters of beer and I drive better than you.
I can tell.
And then I continue to drive.
Feel swollen or
My
something.
housekeeper. And another thing I remember that, you know,
You never know, man. Somebody can be playing at you somewhere, and get this character here.
I was going to buy a farm lot. And then when I
Hmm?
arrived at the farm lot, I bought the farm lot off. I did this other thing. And I say, I want to buy a machine.
Estaba durmiendo y tú estabas busy.
Only the stupid things I know. You know, I remember only a bit, you know, what I did. And it was horrifying. After I wake up and then she told me all story. She resigned, she ran away, right? It was so horrible. And then after, you know, I feel so bad. I don't know anything, but I feel so bad. I wake up, I feel so bad, and then they told me the story.
Remember how I was telling you that one of the school things is you gotta dress up as Hawaii, right? Remember I was telling you that how the fuck you gonna find a Hawaii shirt in December? When I was shopping with Tony yesterday.
5 years ago, I thought that the mushrooms telling me.
I'm in the guy section of the shirts, right?
And I thought it's stupid or it's
In Marshalls. And don't I see the perfect shirt? Santa Claus in Hawaii. It's pictures of Santa Claus in la playa. Y las mujeres con la falda esa.
Eso pasa, sí, a mí me pasa
Then you
mucho
can see
eso.
them in the Hawaii. And I was like,
I'm looking for something random. and
I'm like, so Santa Claus really does go to Hawaii? He really be vacationing? Like, what the fuck? Because Red Brother got the idea for me. Now they got the shirt.
That's funny.
I don't know. So I got
You
it for
made that
Sarah.
up. You make
I
it
don't know if it's
happen.
gonna fit her because that's a guy's shirt. I got an extra small, but it might still fit her big. But she could wear it like a dress or something. I couldn't resist that shirt. It was Santa Claus in fucking Hawaii. Like, what more can you ask for? She better get a prize for that fucking shirt.
Yeah, right?
Like nobody else better fucking be wearing it either.